From our Main Street newsroom, this is 2 News Live at 3:30.
Just shy of 3:30 here live downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Brian Cheney. This is 2 News Live, and we are following some breaking news out of Ogden this afternoon. We've been staring at this over the course of the last, I would say, hour or so. There's a deadly motorcycle crash there on Washington Boulevard, and we were looking at this. It's happened around 12:30. It's between 34th Street and about 33rd, 32nd. There's a UDOT camera actually further down that was able to show this general area. And we did get some of that information confirmed by Ogden Police that mentioned that there was a motorcycle and a vehicle involved. You see the vehicle on the flatbed here, actually, if we're able to zoom in and take a look. This whole road, which is a major roadway through Ogden, basically runs north and south. It's been closed throughout the course of the last few hours, and they expect that to be the case for a little while. There was one confirmed fatality, and we saw some pictures that were sent our way of the motorcycle, of the other vehicle involved, and we do know that there was a person that was pronounced deceased there at the scene of this crash. And again, all of the lanes here will remain closed, and that is something that we will be monitoring here throughout the afternoon and the evening as we start to move through a number of things that we're looking at here in the course of the next half hour into 2 News at 4 o'clock. Another big story that's going on today here, obviously it's day 2 now, preliminary hearings involving Tyler Robinson and a variety of people that have been in the courtroom talking to prosecutors, defense teams, and cross-examination. It's not trial here. Let's be very clear. This is a preliminary stage. So they get to this point, they'll decide how they have to move forward. And as we've got a live look, I believe, in the courtroom right now. I've been trying to gather if they're still in there. They are. So let's take a look. Another person on the stand here as they continue to question and try to build their case, if you will. Ultimately, this is one side versus another to try to get to the point if there were ever to be a jury, right? So they're trying to work through some facts, some pieces of evidence. Right now, this is happening live in Provo. It's got a lot of interest from all over the country. This is involving the assassination of Charlie Kirk that took place here in Utah on the campus of Utah Valley University. Again, live in Provo here. This is yet another day of the preliminary hearing. Let's listen in if we can.
In a bush out at the university.
I was aware of that, yes.
So you knew that that towel was not found in a place where you would expect Mr. Twiggs's DNA to be present.
That is correct. It was found outside of a home, but again, based on speaking with the investigators, they had information to suspect that that towel came from Mr. Robinson's home, and I should utilize Mr. Twiggs as an elimination.
Right. And again, you didn't assume that. You actually concluded it based on the match, right?
Based on reviewing Mr. Twiggs' DNA profile to what I developed from these items, I used him as an elimination sample.
Now, you did various STR mix, what I'll call runs, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And the way this works is you input the number of contributors. You determine that. And then they also have something called HD and HP, right?
Correct, yes.
Tell the court what that is.
So those are different propositions. So in calculating the likelihood ratio compares the probabilities of seeing a DNA profile given one of 2 different scenarios or explanations or hypotheses. One is that a particular person of interest is a contributor, and the other is that an unknown, unrelated individual is a contributor. So depending on the question being asked is how I set up star mix, number of contributors. For example, if I'm utilizing someone as
back here live downtown Salt Lake City as we are monitoring the developments in the courtroom here in Provo, and we've got a whole slew of reporters that are out there monitoring what's going on outside, people that are coming in, including, Erica Kirk and Donald Trump Jr., who just tossed something up on X platforms a few minutes ago mentioning this very case, this situation. Liv Kelleher is live in Provo for us. And Liv, one of the things that they brought in today that we were finally able to see was more of this surveillance video. How were they able to admit it today?
Well, Brian, I know you were following this yesterday, and the state tried to admit that compilation of security video yesterday, but the judge said that it was altered and enhanced and couldn't be submitted. Today they went back, they re-edited that, took out some of those zooms and those red circles, and they were then allowed to admit it, and we were able to watch a lot of that today in the courtroom.
So, Liv, what did the video specifically show? I was able to take a look at a little bit of it, but if I understand, this was multiple days talking through different pieces of where they believe an individual that resembles Tyler Robinson was on campus.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. It's really September 10th and the morning of September 11th, just a few minutes after midnight on September 11th. But what it starts with is a video of a Dodge Challenger making its way into a parking lot at UVU. Then you see a man wearing a maroon shirt and brown shorts, who they say is Tyler Robinson, walking out of that parking lot onto campus. They said that he eventually went into the amphitheater and spoke with some people from Turning Point USA before coming back to his car. He also went to Chick-fil-A. He went to a wooded area on campus where we believe that's eventually where they found the weapon, as well as they saw him return to his car without his backpack on, which they presume he left somewhere in that process. But again, they're saying this is Tyler Robinson. That footage is kind of far away, kind of grainy, kind of hard to see.
Well, Liv, you're right. And we were looking through that. And again, they've had to use different pieces of technology to try to identify if that individual resembles Tyler Robinson. As you can see over my shoulder here, by the way, for those of you watching live, they just took a recess here in court. So they were speaking moments ago, and now they've just stepped away. On that subject, Liv, what is the overall flow of the court room, if you will, and their operations with Judge Graff been like today? What have you seen?
Yeah. A lot of objections from the defense. I mean, they've been pushing back on several pieces of evidence being admitted into the court and then being published. They want certain things to be held off the record, including that enhanced version of that video. The judge did allow that to be admitted into evidence. There's zoom-ins, especially that video of the alleged shooter on the roof. That they're not letting the public see it right now because it has been enhanced, but it was admitted. So a series of objections, having to pause on one argument to then argue the objection, go back to that argument, hear both sides. So it's been slow, it's been back and forth. I'm not seeing as many people today as I thought we would have by this point, Brian.
All right, Liv Kelleher live for us in Provo this afternoon, and there is still about an hour and 20 minutes or so left in what would be the court day. So we will see if they come back out of recess. We'll be watching this. Speaking of watching it and monitoring what is going on, that is what they do in the content center. Reminder, you obviously can stream all of this in real time, keep up with what's going on with the Tyler Robinson case on our KUTV YouTube page. Johnny May is here. So what are you looking at in the digital realm today? There's more than just this court case that people are taking a look at.
Yeah, absolutely. More than just this court case. As you can see here, we have the Director of Licensing and Background Checks right here for the Utah Department of Health and Human Services talking about this story. This is a live stream we just shared online talking about this story here. You can see here Paris Hilton holding up the sign that says shut down Provo Canyon School, the Springville campus. You know, this comes as the state has revoked the license. This is kind of a follow-up to a story we have been tracking, as Paris Hilton was just here a couple weeks ago talking about wanting to shut down the school. And as we've mentioned here, this story does date back at least five years now. Of course, we have a timeline here on our website posted. You can see here, starting back as September 14th, 2020. And you just scroll down here and you can catch up on all that information here. This is something, a school where Paris Hilton did attend when she was a teenager. It is a boarding school here. So we also have that online on our website here. We're also...
This is the one I was interested in because this is a big talker for people here, especially in Utah. A lot of people head to Lake Powell. What is the latest with that, and what are we looking at?
Yes. So we do have this story right here. As you can see, the scenic view of Lake Powell right here. Now, there is a scientist in the area down there who has proposed maybe potentially draining Lake Powell to fill water in Lake Mead. The idea is you have two places with low water quality, Lake Mead and Lake Powell. The idea is maybe picking one, as you can see here. And we're kind of on our website inviting people to kind of chime in their thoughts to see what maybe they will think of it. As you can see here, we have a poll question here. So if people want to go online, read some information, read some background information first about this, and then go vote on their thoughts, whether it's keep storing water in Lake Powell, send more water to Lake Mead, or fill Lake Powell first, or send it all to Lake Mead. Of course, it's a whole slew of options, well, 4 options there, where people can choose how to best move forward.
All right, Jonathan, thank you very much. I will take that from you. That poll question, again, for those of you that are wondering, that is our daily tag board question. The question itself is what should happen with Lake Powell's water, and there's been a lot of opinions and questions about Lake Powell over the years as those water levels have continued to decline, and what was the status overall of can the dam produce energy? I mean, this is a major part of the conversation here, and those options right now: keep storing it in Lake Powell, send more water to Lake Mead, send it all to Lake Mead, and fill Lake Powell first. As we work through some technical things here, meteorologist Chase Thomason is with me this afternoon. Chase, we're getting some graphics going. There we are. We're back. But I wanted to know what you're looking at right now as it pertains to our weather situation all across the state of Utah.
Yeah, right now we're tracking a few showers and storms. Had a few raindrops out there, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, not a ton of moisture to work with, but just enough to ruin your car wash. We're also seeing some gusty winds coming out of some of these thunderstorms, of course. With these gusty winds and some erratic wind speeds all kind of all over the place. We saw it yesterday, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. That can actually elevate our fire danger. So we have red flag warnings out there. It's dry, it's hot, it's kind of been the story, but at least a little bit of rain out there.
Live look in Daggett County, now in Park City for us right now. Chase, what is our next big weather maker here you have your eye on?
It's going to be the heat. We have quite the heat wave, Brian, that's going to be moving in just in time for the weekend. So folks that are kind of sensitive to the heat, children, the elderly, if you don't have a place to cool off, this is kind of that weekend where you got to take it a little bit seriously and have a place to cool off. Find a mountain lake, find a swimming pool, because we're talking temperatures flirting with record highs, maybe 105, 106. Our all-time temperature in Salt Lake is 107, so we're getting close to that number.
Water storage, just a quick one for you. Where are we at with the latest here in terms of our reservoirs and how we're hanging on through the beginning of July?
Well, you know, our reservoir levels have been okay because of our epic snow year that we had several years ago. But the problem is that last couple snow years have been below normal. So those reservoir levels are starting to drop, and they're continuing to drop, especially now that we're in July, and they're only going to get even lower as we head into August. The last few months have been very dry here in Utah.
Meteorologist Chase Thomason, we will see you coming up on 2 News at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. Let's take a live look outside right now as we send you to a quick break before we come back with our conversation here, trying to see where we're at. Do we have Daggett County? There we are. You can see some of that low water there in the Flaming Gorge area, but a beautiful afternoon if you want to get out there. Coming up next, we're going to talk with the state forester from the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands about fireworks. That is a big talker for a lot of people over the 4th of July holiday and into Pioneer Day when we come back. Welcome back here on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee, checking in with our assignment desk right now in the 2 News newsroom here downtown Salt Lake City on this Tuesday afternoon. Delilah's here, and you've been looking at an event that's coming up here where you can see hummingbirds up close. What is this all about?
Well, it's a banding ceremony that's going to be with Department of Wildlife Resources. It's going to be in Daggett County on July 18th from 7 to 11 a.m. And that's where you can see 4 species of hummingbirds get banded. And what that does is it helps them track the migration patterns and allows them to collect other data.
As we have this live look here in Daggett County right now, we were showing this to you earlier. This is looking towards the Flaming Gorge. It's a beautiful part of our state. If you haven't been out to venture, maybe this is the perfect time to get up to Daggett County for those along the Wasatch Front and check out the different species of these birds. So what can people do when they go to this event? What are some of the opportunities they have?
A majority of it is just to watch the hummingbirds, watch the researchers, band them, and then they'll release them. So it's really just an opportunity for people who love to watch birds.
All right, so as we look through what is going on in Daggett County right now and this special event here, again, 4 hummingbird species, you can watch, you can ask your questions, you can take photos. We've got a live look for you of just some hummingbirds on your screen right now, so you can take a look at what this may look like for you if you go up to Daggett County. While I have you on the assignment desk, we were talking about some of that breaking news off the top of our show, which was this crash, and it was a number of situations actually unfolding in Ogden. What have we been able to find out over the course of the last hour or so that we were able to bring folks at the top of this half hour?
Basically, all we have is confirmed that the road's going to be closed while they do their investigation. The other is that they've confirmed that it was a fatal motorcycle accident.
Okay, so we have that one, and then you were also looking at some pictures that were shared with us of another crash, and that was not related, correct?
No,
we were figuring out these were two
yeah,
separate
they were
situations?
2 separate situations. I haven't confirmed any information about that crash. However, based on the pictures that we saw on social media, it looked like there was possibly a fire, but I'm not sure if there were any injuries or anything like that. We're still trying to confirm.
All right, we'll check back in with you here on the desk. Thank you, Delilah. Let's head back over to our main spot over here with one of the monitors so we can take a look at some of the other things going on right now here on 2 News Live. It is 3:47 on this Tuesday afternoon. We've got a live look downtown now, looking from our top of our rooftop here, and that would be looking towards the Wasatch Mountains here. That's an area where, fortunately, we have not seen a whole lot of fire activity. The benches were not affected because of a statewide firework ban. We are happy to have Jamie Barnes, the state forester for the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, joining us here on the program this afternoon. Jamie, thanks for being with us. I know this topic of conversation about fireworks is like a moving target, if you will. We've made it through past July 5th. That's when the ban had to expire. Are we planning on bringing it back for Pioneer Day, or is this evolving?
Yeah, it's still evolving. We're looking at fuel conditions and seeing what we get in the next few days with regard to weather and how those fuel indices do. So more to come on firework restrictions and how that will evolve over the 24th holiday.
Jamie, how would you classify what you saw across the state on July 4th and those days surrounding? Were you pleased with how many people were abiding by those restrictions statewide?
Yeah, I think we had a really good response to the order that we put out. I think there was a balance to that where we allowed municipalities to evaluate conditions within their area. They're the experts in their area. And that's really what we wanted to see them do, is for them to take a look at that with their fire chiefs and their mayors and decide, is there areas that we can allow the discharge of these fireworks to happen that they felt good with, and then designate those areas. And overall, I think it turned out well.
So at what point are we looking at making those decisions for the upcoming holiday? We obviously have some time here. Are you hoping to see some moisture move into the area? I know that even there's scattered showers out there now throughout portions of the Wasatch Front and other locations. What would it take to allow versus keeping the potential statewide ban in place for another major July holiday?
Yeah, I was happy to see some moisture this afternoon moving into Salt Lake. Unfortunately, in the southern part of the state, we are in red flag. So it's windy, it's hot, it's low relative humidity. And to be completely honest, it's going to take a lot to pull us out of where we're at as far as dry fuels and just what we're seeing across the state as overall dry grasses being presented. So we don't want to restrict any earlier than we have to. We want to look at those indices as we come up closer to the holiday, but we also want to give people time to plan. So, a few days before that, we will plan to look at where we're at, what the temperatures are sitting like and what we're seeing weather-wise, and then we'll get with the governor's office and decide how they want to work that.
All right, Jamie Barnes, that is the state forester with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. Thanks for stopping by for a few minutes here on 2 News Live to talk about what we can expect here moving forward with the potential for fireworks as we move into the later part of July. Now, the reason why we were asking these questions is because there's a lot of you talking about this. Ultimately, these are the topics of conversation around the 4th of July. Some of those comments saying that the ban is a joke, we're planning to ban for the 24th celebrations. They think we are sheeple. That's a very interesting one. And it doesn't matter if there are areas that don't approve, the selfish people will light them off because it's their right. They could care less about the harm. They will and can cause different problems. So we will attempt to bring this whiteboard back over here. I'm not sure how it's going to work, guys, because of course it's live television. But as we make our way to do so, if we press this little button here, good. It's day 2. Bear with me. So this nice graphic here talking about days of 47. That's what all of this is about, right? There's this high fire risk that we've seen here, that the ban's in place. And again, we're listening to what you're saying. We're seeing a lot of your conversations and talking about this on social media platforms, even on our articles on KUTV.com. Those are a lot of the places where you're firing away some of those very colorful commentary pieces. Fireworks. So what do we have here as the options? You've obviously got drone shows. A lot of cities and counties have resorted to drone shows over the last few years because of brush fire risk. So do we have all of those in place? Are the fireworks shows canceled? Will there be more bans? Those are things we're looking at as we make our way towards the 24th. Again, thanks to Director Barnes for joining us here live on 2 News Live at 3:30. We'll be right back.
From our Main Street newsroom, this is 2 News Live at 3:30.
Yes, it is. Thanks for joining us here on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. It is 3:56, and here's what we've got in Draper right now. These are the northbound lanes where you see emergency vehicles off to the side, and that is not a spot where you want to see congestion, especially as we get towards the afternoon commute, because this runs straight up from Salt Lake down to Utah County and is already a congestion spot. Also, a big story we're following this afternoon, a Manhattan building facing possible collapse concerns. Crews are monitoring a structure that's a high-rise building. There are safety warnings in the area. This is a live look from Times Square. Officials are working to assess the damage here. It's a 37-story high-rise in Midtown Manhattan. There are traffic impacts in the area, but this is a major story unfolding on the East Coast. That'll do it for 30. 2 News at 4 coming up right after this.